take one.
I'm good.
Are you okay?
I am, sir. Thank you very much.
Are you sure?
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
I'm good. My nudge.
Swearing in Italian.
Do I have to, John, do I have to read what we?
Yeah, just go through everything, at the beginning.
All right, it is are we on? It is 6:04 on August 6th, okay? And the Alton Zoning Board of Adjustment public hearing will commence. My name is Frank Rich. I'm the chairman. To my right is John Dever, the code official, and Thomas Lee, member, Tim Morgan, member, Paul Monzione, member, and Paul LaRochelle, member, and also a member of the select board as a member for this group. Until further notice, to keep our members and staff safe and to comply with the RSA 91A, the COVID-19 state of emergency, and the governor's orders on restrictions at public hearings, the town of Alton is moving from in-person meetings to remote audio participation meetings. To remotely attend the meeting, audio only, visit our website, www.alton.nh.gov. For telephone access and remote access instructions listed under news and announcements on the home page, you can access an audio or video live stream there as well, or telephone the planning department's office at 603-875-2162 between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for more information, or for the dial-in code and meet ID for each zoning board meeting. So I'm going to call to order the meeting. I've introduced the board members. There will be no appointment of alternates tonight because we don't have any alternates, and I don't think we're going to need. We have a full board. So the agenda, statement of the appeal process. Purpose of this hearing is to allow anyone concerned with an appeal to the Zoning Board of Adjustment to present evidence for or against the appeal. This evidence may be in the form of opinion rather than an established fact. However, it should support the grounds which the board must consider when making a determination. The purpose of the hearing is not to gauge the sentiment of the public or to hear personal reasons why individuals are for or against an appeal, but all facts and opinions based on reasonable assumptions will be considered. In the case of appeal for a variance, the board must determine facts bearing upon the 5 criteria set forth in the state statutes. For the special exception, the board must ascertain whether each of the standards set forth in the zoning ordinance have been or will be met. Approval of the agenda.
There are no changes to the agenda. We do have requests to continuance.
Okay, so the approval of the agenda, do I need to get a vote on that?
Yes, I would make a motion that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, Tim Morgan.
Aye, Frank Rich.
Aye, Paul Monzione.
Aye, Paul LaRochelle.
Okay, we're gonna be here, case 20-9. Donahue Tucker and Cinderella, Brad Jones, Beach, Mount Major Highway. I understand that they have requested,
They have requested a continuance to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is September 3rd.
we need to vote on that.
Yes.
Okay? Can I hear,
I'll move
can I-
that we accept their request for continuance to the next regularly scheduled meeting in September.
I second. Could we have a little discussion about that?
certainly,
I just want to clarify before we take a vote. So, the request for continuance came in the form of a letter from the attorney, Passay, I guess, how to pronounce it. And obviously, that's part of the record, right? That becomes
Yes.
official
Yes, it does.
request for continuance. And then the only thing is that, so that would, and just, I think it's worth mentioning, that would be the second request for continuance, because we didn't conclude this at the first session. They asked for continuance. It's the second request, right? So we have
Correct.
a two continuance rule, and this would be their second continuance. I mean, obviously, if there's other good cause or something that comes up, we could extend it, but this isn't one of those situations where the continuances are being granted for any other reason other than the applicant's request.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
okay, so now I have a question. So if this is the second request, if they request a third one,
That would be at the discretion of the board.
that would be at the discretion of the board. Okay.
Normally, it would entail them,
The applicant know that.
right, they will,
Okay,
make
so
sure that they are aware of that.
make sure that they're aware of that, please.
They will.
I mean, the other thing about that is, we do have official bylaws or rules of the ZBA, which are public record, and any applicant that applies or comes before the board has access to that. So they're on notice anyway of those rules, whether they see it or not, but it's good that we're saying it. Yeah.
I think just to be on the right side of it,
Right.
okay, it would be good if we mentioned it to them, you know? Because I know how some attorneys are, that they don't read anything, okay? You know, appropriately, you know? So I want to just make sure. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Okay, okay. Moving right along, case 20 dash,
We need a vote.
Oh,
on
I'm
that.
sorry.
We were in discussion.
I'm sorry, discussion. So
I screwed this up.
was
Tim had a motion.
motioned, you seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay, we had discussion, all in favor?
Aye, Tim Morgan.
Frank Rich,
Aye, Paul Manzioni. Aye, Paul LaRochelle.
unanimously voted, yes. Okay, moving right along, case 20-10, Thomas Varney, engineer, agent for John T., how do we say his name?
Byrne.
Byrne.
Joseph Byrne.
Joseph Byrne. Special exception. Special exception is requested from Article 300, Section 360 of the zoning ordinance to permit a non-habitable structure as a principal building on a lot in a residential zone.
The applicant has 2010 and 2011, one's a special exception, one's a variance. And both of those have been requested continuance to the September 3rd.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I'm recused on this case.
okay, thank you, Mr. Monzini.
In that case, I'll make a motion that we grant the continuance of these two cases to the September 3rd, and probably once again be appropriate to discuss.
Yes.
I think this is another example of this being the second.
Second. Correct. Second.
So I'm going to ask you again, notify them, you know, that this is the second, and it's up to the discretion of the board to extend it any further. Okay, thank you. Did I get someone to second it? Oh, discussion.
So this motion is for 2010 alone, 2010 and 2011?
2010 and 2011.
Okay, 11. Yeah, second motion.
You'll second the motion? Thank you. Any more discussion other than what Tim had to say? No? Okay, can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye, Tom Lee.
Aye, Tim Morgan.
Aye, Frank Rich.
Aye, Paul Rochelle.
Paul Monzione reclused himself, and it was a vote 4-0, unanimous, the members that voted. Okay, moving right along. Z Mark Engineering Incorporated, Joe Maynard agent, Patricia M. Harvey revocable trust. A special exception is requested from Article 300, Section 320 of the zoning ordinance to permit an existing home to be raised and new home constructed 5 feet from the high water line within side and rear setbacks on a lot in a lake shore residential zone.
As a new application, you have two options. You can accept the application as complete and then continue, because this applicant's also requested to be moved to the next meeting, or you can table the application without accepting it for action on the next meeting.
It's the pleasure of the board.
I would move that we table it and grant the continuance to the next meeting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and for that reason, I would second it. If we could have discussion about that, since it's been seconded, I think, since the applicant isn't here, if there were questions about completeness or whatever, they wouldn't be here to address it. So I think tabling it makes sense, so we'll deal on the completeness issue when the applicant has a chance to talk to us about it in case we need some input.
The reason for the request for continuance is it was, once we received the plans, it was found they need a variance also. So they will be coming in with the application for the variance, be presented with this at the next meeting.
The special exception.
With the special exception, yes. They still need both. They still need a special exception, but they also need a variance.
We're gonna need both.
So we need to vote. All in favor of tabling the case Z 2013, say aye.
Tom.
Tim Morgan.
Aye, Frank Rich.
Aye, Paul Monzione.
Aye, Paul Rochelle.
Moves us to other business. Previous business, finalized discussion on ZAC committee members, need third member. Who are the two members?
Paul Arshell's one. Second.
I said I was happy to do it.
I thought you were, yeah.
We need 3 members from the
We
ZBA.
don't need 3, but we have, because Paul is sitting on the ZAC.
Oh,
I can't vote.
He can't vote.
Vote, but he, under the bylaws, he could vote to break a tie as the selected representative. But it puts us, we still don't have 2 representatives from the zoning board.
Right.
And we have, while we're on that subject, we've got a whole education on the potential for having a quorum. So what will happen is the zoning amendment committee notice will go out, and then there will be a notice for ZBA members. We're going to have a quorum of the ZBA present. It won't be a ZBA meeting, but we have to, Jessica's got this all figured out, her and Jim, and so they have a process in place. So there'll be 2 notices for each meeting. Just to protect
Just in
us.
case,
To
yeah.
protect us so that, nobody can say, hey, you're,
Right, even though it's not a quorum of either, because with a non-voting member, two members of ZBA don't constitute a quorum.
He's a voting member of the ZBA.
So it's,
Yeah,
even though I can't vote on the
You
ZAC,
can't vote on the ZAC, I'd say, so, okay, just to play it safe, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's keeping it safe, yeah.
I got it.
I get it.
So they'll notice it as an official meeting.
Yes.
We still need a third member.
Well, we still need a third, another.
That's what I'm saying. We have two. Frank?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a member and I can vote, right? Tom is a member,
He can vote.
Tom Lee is a member, he can vote. And Paul will be in attendance, but
As the selectman's representative.
Selectman's rep, but cannot.
I can only vote if there's a tie, basically, or basically if someone's absent from the ZAC.
Yeah, for shorthanded, yeah.
If one of the three members is absent,
Right.
then I become a voting member, if I understand it
For
correctly.
that issue, and you do that, you're ex officio on the ZAC,
Right.
but you do it in your capacity as the selectman's
Selectman.
representative. A selectman's representative would have the authority to break the tie. Because without that one member, it's an even number, and then you would be able to break the tie.
Tom, thank you.
On the ZAC, though, you guys that are gonna do it, while we're on that subject, you need to look at the definition of setbacks as an issue that you should think about, doing a house cleaning on, because it defines setbacks as from the exterior of a structure to a boundary. Okay, that's essentially what it says. We could look it up right now in the definitions, but it talks about from the exterior of a structure to a boundary. But setbacks also include from the exterior of a structure to a right-of-way, or to other things, high water mark or whatever. So those aren't encompassed in our definition of setback.
Okay.
So all I'm suggesting is take a look at setback definition and talk about whether you guys think you want to add some language to it, which may even require a warrant article, as opposed to a housekeeping item, but you guys can figure that out in the meetings. Thank you.
High water mark.
Yeah, and right of way, just to think of some, there may be others that setbacks apply to. Setbacks apply to more than just boundary lines.
Yes.
There's other things that a setback applies to.
So like the 50-foot shoreline protection,
Correct, that's a setback.
and what about the 150-foot?
That's a DES thing, I think.
And 50-foot is, well,
250.
we have 30-foot and 50-foot. 50-foot on newer lots, 30 feet on older existing.
Right,
Setback from the lake or.
right, from the high water mark, but,
Yeah, the edge of the water body.
right. But I think that 250, or the DES has jurisdiction to restrict tree cutting and
Yes.
construction and everything within that, but that wouldn't be in the town.
That would not be in our,
Right,
that's not in our
that's
jurisdiction.
not in our
Now, on the new application, stepping back for a second, the new application, we didn't go over, but reading through it, they talked about HWM. And they brought up the high water mark. So is that, we're just talking, but is that something maybe a skilled attorney who's understands that? Why would they bring that up unless that was in our, or is it?
Well, that's the setback for DES and for us, are set from what is determined to mean the high water mark.
Okay.
And that is set at a particular level, altitude. So for Lake Winnipesaukee, it's 504.32 feet of altitude, of sea level, is determined to be the boundary, the edge of, where all the setbacks start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's our benchmark.
right, that's the benchmark for.
Right,
That's the benchmark for
The boundaries there, setbacks.
But the point I was making, Tom, is that if you go to the definition in our zoning regs, under the definition section, and you look at the word setback, we define setback as meaning the distance between the exterior of a structure to a boundary. And that's all we say is boundary. But actually, a setback also is the distance between the exterior of a building to a right-of-way, to the edge of a right-of-way, or to the high water mark, for the lake setback. So those are the only other two. Right-of-way and lake are the only other two besides boundaries for which we have setbacks. But there may be others, and we got to think about it. And if we do, I'm just saying that Zach should think about looking at the definition of setback and seeing if it needs some additional language to be more accurate. Everybody knows that setback applies to those other things, but our definition doesn't say that.
Definition doesn't say it, but it says it in the explanation.
It says it in most of the
In the explanation, it says, it'll say,
high water mark,
high water mark, it will
right
also
of
say
way,
right of way,
edge of right of way. So
but not in
we
definition.
do have language that deals with it, but then the definition itself omits to deal with it. So just to make those things consistent, and then you'd have to figure out the issue of whether that falls into, in light of the fact that we have language that deals with it in the applicable regulation, whether changing the definition would require a warrant article or just be a housekeeping matter. It's probably going to require a warrant article, because I think whenever you change the definition, it's almost automatically a substantive.
Well, for the purpose of setbacks to water, we use that high water mark, and that's what we do.
Yeah,
Town measures,
right.
Because traditionally, that's the boundary.
Yeah, and none of that's going to change. I mean, it's not even a discussion about how setbacks, how they're determined, but just in the definition, if you went strictly by a definition, the setback only applies to a boundary.
And
It doesn't.
The lake is the boundary.
Well, you would call it like a boundary.
Yeah, and the mean high water mark is the boundary for the property.
Yeah, right.
At the lake.
Yeah.
At the lake.
Yeah, I got you.
Or whatever is determined to be the edge of, like, the edge of the river is determined to be here, or whatever.
I need to make it clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it,
We
yeah.
can address it.
Hey, if you want, and I see the meetings, and now that they're being noticed, maybe I'll show up. I'll give public input.
There you go.
You're welcome, public input from anybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we have that finalized, okay, that, we're gonna have three members, Paula, Rochelle, myself, and Tom Lee, and, to make up the ZAC committee members for the variance, for the ZBA. Any more discussion on that? Thank you very much, Mr. Monzioni, for your enlightening speech. Okay, 2, new business, discussion of HB 1129, notice requirements for municipal public hearings. John?
Yeah, they have changed, the recent legislative change regarding how notices are posted. Previously, one of the requirements that had to be in a newspaper, local circulation, and they have removed that. And as long as it is noticed on the town's website and then posted in the normal places that we do anyways, here, town hall, down for post office, there's no longer a statutory requirement to put the notice in the paper. Continue to do so if we want, but it also, one of the things is it's a savings to the applicant of about $75, because that's what the paper notice cost. So that's what that statute goes into effect the 1st of September.
So we have discretion as a board, however, to require a newspaper notice, notwithstanding the fact that the.
I don't know.
Okay.
I will explore that.
I mean, I'd be in favor of all the notices possible, because you have a segment of the population, believe it or not, and I won't point the finger at anybody specific who never goes on a computer to look at social media of any kind, And if there are people who are still living in, you know, the 20th as opposed to the 21st century, and they don't do that, okay, the newspaper is still useful to many people to let them know that something's going on that they might want to take part in. And I think you lose an entire segment of the population by not putting it in the newspaper. And applicants have been used to the fee all these years. I mean, it's just a thing that happens. So I don't mean to stall progress, but I think I'm in favor of as many people as we can knowing about what we do here and having an opportunity to weigh in on something.
Planning department, as well as with the zoning, as with Jessica called, she had asked to be able to put on social media some of the information of what is available to the public, and that was granted. So she's doing social media
Right.
more and more, and people are requesting it more and more to get information on social media as well as the newspaper. It
Right.
seems to be less and less people looking, but I still believe you're right. I still think we still need to have notice in the newspaper as well as computer and social media.
Right.
And that gives 3 options there. And some people just use computer and not social. They go on the website for the town hall.
Right.
Some people are doing that to get their information, some social media, a few still use paper. I think as many options, I have to agree. But I think we are changing.
When we were regularly stocking newspapers here, you know, the Daily Sun, they generally always were gone. You know, we might have a few left over, but so there are people who made it happen, come to town hall to get their Daily Sun,
Yeah, right.
the Bayside.
But having 3 options that way, I think is still a good idea.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? Okay, we are now down to approval of minutes. And we have February 13th minutes and July 2nd. Do I have any of the members any comments on, let's start with February 13th.
My only comment is I thought February 13th we already approved.
Can't find that.
I could have sworn
Could have sworn we did it too.
I thought we approved 13th.
It would have waited until our first televised meeting. Not have happened in March or.
Right, and our first televised meeting, we didn't approve February meeting in that.
Just look, when they back and look, she
Looks-
didn't find any record of it, unless she looked
Okay.
at minutes or whatever.
Okay.
Now I know why we had problems with this. The old chair was running the show at that time. Not up to speed. Do you recall whether or not we approved this or not, Mr. Munzy? Ex officio, Chair Munzy.
I have no idea, but I would say that I make a motion this evening that we approve the minutes of February 13, 2020 as submitted.
I have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the February 13th minutes being approved, please say aye.
I was not at,
I'm going to abstain as well. I wasn't present.
I say aye. I was here. Aye.
I was here.
Frank Rich, aye. Paul Manzioni, aye.
I, Paul LaRochelle, and I also, Paul LaRochelle, second that motion.
Okay. Moving right along to July 2nd.
Yeah, I have a couple of comments.
Yes,
On the, two-thirds of the way down the second page, it says Mr. Morgan joined the meeting. I don't know if that's a comment on whether I was here mentally earlier, but I was here physically from the beginning of the meeting. I was here when it was called to order. And then the other comment I had is on page 3, down near the bottom, it says, Mr. Lee stated adequate and appropriate facilities, and then Mr. Lee stated there is adequate heritage safe. So I think one of those Mr. Lees was somebody else, maybe me. Was I didn't have any other. I don't know.
just that one question. It's on page 8, and I think it's notable because talking about cases 2010 and 2011 with Tom Bonney, it was brought up by Tim that he believed, or there was a belief that maybe the abutters were not notified on that case appropriately. And then if you remember the discussion, John, it was the mailing out to the abutters, there wasn't enough time. So my point in all of this, it's more of a reference back to that case. He actually voted to continue that case. I just want to make note of that, so when we go forward to September 3rd, they have another continuance afforded them. That's a good point.
Yes.
We actually continued that case, so it just reminded me when I was reading it, that discussion all came back, so.
Right, and it should be not a mark against them.
Right, that's fine.
Right.
Other than that, it is the end.
so we actually asked for it to be
Yes.
continued, so it's not the second.
Right.
It's not the second, it's only the first. For which case is that?
2010 and 2011.
2011.
2010 and 2011. Okay. All right, so that's a good catch. Thanks, Tom. Anything else?
I move we approve the minutes for July 2nd with the 2 changes that I suggested.
Second.
Do we also need Tom's input also, that needs to be clarified?
Not on the minutes.
Not in the minutes? No, okay.
We'll have to clarify that next month.
Next one. Yeah, okay, and you second,
Yes.
Paul?
Paul LaRochelle, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye, Conley.
Hi, Tim Morgan.
Aye, Frank Rich.
Aye. Paul Manzioni.
I, Paul LaRochelle.
Excellent. Minutes. John, has there been any correspondence?
I think we may have gotten a complaint letter, but it has been addressed otherwise, because everybody got the same letter regarding one of our cases. It's being addressed.
All right? We all got that letter?
Pardon?
We all got that letter.
Well, the board, when I say we, the selectmen, the planning, state forestry, everybody who they thought they could name, Conservation Commission, they sent an anonymous letter to all of those entities.
So it was anonymous. Okay?
No, it's not in there. I wanted to say that, the complaint had come, but it's been taken action on it. We've gotten educated on it. It's regarding the statute, it's regarding, case 2009, the Rand Hill Realty project, and the comments about foresting, logging, clearing land, lack of proper buffer or whatever.
Right.
So we have gotten an education on that. No one has ever heard of that before, but it is a valid statute. And so because it's state forestry got a letter, ERA, we'll have that correspondence from them for you.
Before the next meeting? That was the one that brought up that statute.
Someone had mentioned it in
I did.
one of the letters.
In the letter, but you mentioned it.
I brought it up at the meeting.
Yeah, but it had been mentioned in one of, I do recall that it been mentioned in one of the letters that had been received
Yes,
as part of that.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
but you did mention it.
Yeah,
So it has been,
Yeah, I have a copy of the statute for the 150-foot buffer. Yeah.
Okay,
that's it.
other correspondence? Any discussions, anything anybody wants to talk about? You know,
Any troubling you or?
there are a lot of things troubling me, Mr. Manzioni, and most of them have to do with you. Okay, but we'll deal with that privately, okay? You know, I hope you rode your bike so I can follow you, you know. So I'll entertain an adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye, Tom Lin.
Hi, Tim Morgan.
Hi, Frank Rich.
Aye, Paul Manzioni.
I follow Rochelle.
Baby.